Hey everyone, it's Reed here, and today I am super excited because we're going to be talking about one of my favorite languages in web development, and that is JavaScript. Specifically, we're going to start out with some fundamental concepts of the language. So, for those of you who do not know, JavaScript started back in 2005, and not to give you the history lesson, but just to show you, it has grown so much since then. So, it started off as this kind of like nascent language that had minimum ability to deal with user interaction with the front end. Now you can do pretty much anything you want on the front end user interaction wise. So that has to do with handling cookies and analytic features. You can perform interactive functions. A button click could fire off an animation. You can actually even write code on the back end and server side data to handle different sides of a website. So not just the front end, but you can be a full stack developer and work on the back end as well. So it's extremely attractive because with the single language that's fairly approachable for beginning developers, you can create and maintain any piece of a website. So from architecture even all the way to design and implementation of your code. So it's an amazing language, and so far it's one of my favorites for that reason, for how ubiquitous it is and for how approachable it is. There's a lot of value in it, and that's certainly reflected in the job market if that's where you are headed, just kind of poking your head into these videos to get your feet wet. So right now what we have in front of us is an application called VS Code. It's a place where you can write and edit code for free. It's a program that you can download, and it's owned by Microsoft. So this is kind of, basically everyone I've ever spoken with, and just from my own personal experiences, this is my favorite IDE. It's my favorite place to write code because there are so many benefits to it. So you can download these little extensions here. You guys can see here's where they show up. I have an AWS one, and that one in particular will allow like a few autocomplete things, and it will kind of tell me what is going on in AWS, which is a cloud computing platform. Likewise, I have this Emmet abbreviation that will help me out with autocomplete features. So here we have an empty HTML file. I've just typed an exclamation point, and I'm going to hit tab. Boom. Okay. So automatically we have some nice boilerplate HTML code ready to go. And we're going to start building an empty web page here. To start, we are going to actually fire up this HTML page. So I can just say open index.html, and you guys can see we are in a fundamentals directory, and that contains this HTML and app.js file. And opened it up. Here we are. Now I'm going to right click and inspect, and you guys can see obviously there's nothing there because we don't have any code within our body yet. And I've right clicked, I hit inspect. I'm going to select console here, and this is in Google Chrome. Pretty much any other browser has something similar, so it might be a little bit different for you guys to get here, but we want this console area. And within this area, I can start writing JavaScript. So let's just say alert, hey everyone. And I am going to put a semicolon at the end, close my brackets, hit enter, and here we go. Hey everyone. Cool. So obviously I don't want to write my entire website in here because, well, a bunch of reasons. It's sort of ridiculous. It would be very annoying and difficult to debug. Also, the scope of it is basically this page. So if I hit refresh, you can see it's gone. That's not very helpful if I'm trying to write a website. I want it to live somewhere, and that's where putting it inside of here works. So let's go ahead and we're going to say alert. And like we did before, we say, hey, everyone. And, well, I saved the file. I don't know if you guys caught it. There's a white circle here. If you hit Command S, it will go away because the file is saved. And we refresh, but nothing happened. And the reason why is because we have our index.html file that's serving up it should be serving up our JavaScript, but it's not yet. And that's because we need to write a script tag in here. So our script tag is going to reference the source file of our JavaScript. So right now, that is in our app.js file. So I've saved the index.html file. That's what's over here in the browser. As you guys can see by the URL here, this is just sort of the area I have built for, where I store some coding projects. So it's in my documents folder, the my apps directory in that, and then fundamentals directory within that. And here's the index.html file that we're looking at. So if I hit refresh, boom, here we go. Hey everyone. So that's a great little litmus test for seeing that our JavaScript file is indeed referenced in our index.html. Awesome. So let's take that a step further, and we'll actually write a function to fire this off. So let's just say greeting. And I'm going to just cut this alert and put it in here. Okay, so you would expect, because we have this function, that if I go back in here and refresh, we should see, hey everyone, but we don't. Okay, and there's a very simple explanation for that, is we did not call the function. So that's how that works. You have the function name, which we chose, is just greeting. It could be anything that you like. You want it to be something descriptive, because if you look at your code a month from now, you will not remember it. I can promise you that. And if someone else looks at your code, they will have no idea what you're doing here. So this function is typically not going to be one line that just says, hey, but it's going to be something that, it might be 20 or 40 lines long that does something when you click a button, for example. And you want that to be a descriptive name. So greeting is a good example for now, because all we're trying to do is say what's up. And we are calling the greeting function. So check out this white circle. It's going to go away as soon as I hit Command S, which is saving it. And now we can go back, refresh, and that function fires. So we see, hey everyone, cool. Okay, now let's take that even a step further, and we're going to add an argument to our function. And we're going to add a name, because we don't just want to say, hey everyone now. We want to say, hey, and we're going to make it say, hey, to whoever you are. So I'm going to use the plus symbol to concatenate two strings, and we're going to pass in that name parameter that we've created. And again, this is something of our choosing. We called it name because we're going to say hey to something, and you say hey to a name, hey to a person, hey to an object, whatever. And because we're adding two strings together, I'm going to pass in a string, and I'm going to say hey read, and that's just my name. So when we refresh, I'm expecting to say greeting. I'm expecting this greeting function to take read the name and put it here. So we should say hey, and then we left a space here, right here. And then I'm adding in it's kind of like a variable. We'll get to that in a bit. Name. So here is our argument, or here's our parameter. And we're using the argument read. So greeting read. Boom. Hey read. Cool. That's exactly how we expected it. So before we move on and check out the scope of variables and how those are going to help with us, I would definitely appreciate it if you like this video to hit that like button and give me a shout in the comment section about any other fundamental concepts that you would like to learn. Take care, guys.